Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. It's Tevra. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Tevra with NJ in Color. I'm coming to you right now with a pop-up conversation. It's telling people that I'm on right now. We're getting ready for Voterville, which is tomorrow at Votee Park in Bergen County. So we just want to get on here and talk about, the importance of the youth vote, why Voterville and events like it are so important. And we're just going to get right into it. I see my guest, Mr. Shakee Merritt, and I'm going to ask him to join me. Let's see. And while I do that, just giving you guys a heads up, we are business here in Bergen County in particular, even though we're supporting Black businesses all over New Jersey. Hey, Shakee.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well today.
Thank you for joining me real quick. Let me finish this thought and then we'll get started. We're celebrating Black business all month long. It is Black Business Month. And so wherever you are in New Jersey, make sure you support a Black owned business. We are launching a Bergen County Black restaurant tour, which is going to happen at the end of the month. We'll have the details out shortly. But in the meantime, we're here to talk about Voterville and the activation of the youth vote. So Shakee, thank you so much I know I'm saying it correctly, right? Am I?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank you so much for joining me, and especially on such last minute notice. We've been trying to get on the same page for a while now, so I'm glad you're available today to talk to us. So tell us about what you do. You are an organizer. You're a political strategist. Tell everybody what you do and how you are meaningful to New Jersey politics.
Yeah. So I have a double part. I work in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut politics. I got my start in New York politics, and then I came back to my home state of New Jersey, where I've worked in New Jersey politics for some time. But yeah, I'm an organizer and political strategist. I've worked for a number of elected officials and those vying to be elected officials in the state,
Hmm.
helping them hash out their political strategy. I've served as a political director, deputy political director, and a political strategist for a number of people. And now I'm helping out with the Bergen County Black Caucus. I've been a member for a few years now, ever since their inception. And as a young person myself, we know that young people are going to make up this next election, particularly our governor's race that's coming up in November, as well as a number of assembly races. As you know, we just went through a crazy primary where every single assembly district was on the line, and so a number of people are vying for their reelection seats. And then we're heading right into 2026, where we have a midterm election, where we know that as people, we need to vote. Whether we work for whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it is important that you vote because the midterm elections will determine the future of the United States as we know it.
Hmm. So as you see, with Texas and well, primarily right now, Texas is like the hot topic right now with the redistricting and the drawing of district lines and all of those nitty gritty details of politics that we don't really talk about like we should. The electoral college, all of those things that we need to talk about, that we lose our youth voters because it's so much, and they're not really teaching civics anymore. So how are we trying to combat that so that people can understand why it's important to vote in their local elections, not just the general elections?
Yeah, that's a really important question. I,
As
I want to I want to talk about Texas for a moment. I think what we're
Mhm.
seeing in Texas is very critical to the future of America. What we do know is that in 2024, Donald Trump asked the North Carolina State House and the North Carolina governor to redraw their lines, and in turn, we lost three seats. As you know, the House is ran by Republicans, but they're only up by about a 3 to 4 seat majority. They were at a 4 seat majority. Now they're at a three because a number of Republican Congress members are opting to resign, especially the ones who are older or being primary challenged. So they're only a 3 seat majority. And what we do know is if North Carolina had not redrawn those district lines, that the Democrats would actually be up 3 seats. We had those three congressional seats.
Mhm.
And what we're witnessing in Texas is not just a rigging of an election. We're as black and brown people, we're literally witnessing them saying, we don't want you to vote and we don't care that you are even going to vote. The fact that Jasmine Crockett is now being drawn out of her own district
Mhm.
into a Republican district that she cannot
Okay.
win is a telltale sign that the that these folks are not only scared at what we've done, but they're literally saying, we want you not involved in this political process anymore. And so I encourage, I'm saying this in my personal capacity, I'm encouraging Governor Phil Murphy to look at every single option to redraw our lines.
Hmm.
We know that Tom Kean Jr. can be easily voted out. However, the district lines, if
Yeah.
they're redrawn, can allow for one more Democratic seat. I'm encouraging Governor Kathy Hochul, as I live in New York State now, Kathy Hochul to redraw our district line. That's something that she's already committed to.
Yeah, and
Because the
consider it
reality is, as Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, as you can see behind me.
if this is the trend, then let's all do it and just set the record straight.
Yep.
I feel like, when people say, "Oh, well, my vote doesn't matter," things like Texas, if that's allowed to go forward, then yeah, it will kind of underscore the whole fact of, yes, you can vote, but no matter what, your lines are drawn the way that they're drawn. I have friends who live in Florida who are under that same type of structure where, yes, they vote religiously, but also it's Florida. In Florida, they will redistrict in a heartbeat, just to make sure that they chop up the black and brown vote, depending on what they're trying to accomplish. So it's unfortunate, and I hopefully this won't be able to go as they are planning for it to go, right?
Yeah,
So,
I think
and God bless them for taking a stand, the Democrats of Texas, and leaving how they had to.
and I think as Black and brown people, we should be, if you have the resources, donating to their they have sent out a link, because right now what we do know is for them to be staying at hotels that cost dollars,
Mhm.
and their goal is to stay there until the end of session,
Mhm.
right? Because to break that quorum, because if they do go back, then the quorum will essentially go into effect, and then they're allowed to pass this. Pass these lines. And so it's really important. I also think we have to talk about the simple fact that a black woman is leading this. A black woman led it the last time, Jasmine Crockett. Now, state assemblywoman, I'm blanking on her name,
I
is
know
now
exactly who you're talking about with the
now
short.
she's
That,
leading this effort, right? And
Mhm.
so yet again, black women are coming to save the
You
day,
know what? Listen,
protect democracy.
our capes are eternally taped to our chest and or to our backs, and for better or for worse, it's like we can't not help, we can't not do, we can't not, because our moral compass is such that we have to fight back. We can't just say, we're just going to let it slide. Yes, we're at rest, but also we can't just stand idly by and watch everything go down in flames. Like I think it's in our nature. Don't
100%.
quote me on that, but I think it's just in our inherent nature. So back to New Jersey and Voterville and your efforts with youth voters, with young people. How have you? Tell us about your career and how you've kind of gone from student into activist into organizer. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so I started at Rutgers University, and if you know, Rutgers University is a really interesting history. We're a university, one of the oldest universities in this country. We're founded in 1766, and we're a university that has had a troubled history. We're a university that did not escape the idea of slaves being on our campus. We did not escape the idea of racism. These things are very much ingrained in the university. And so I was at the university during the time of George Floyd and a number of national activists and organizer. And I credit Black women once again, because a number of my friends are Black women who were in this space. And I'll never forget, as soon as George Floyd was murdered, we were all at home, and I asked myself, I was watching the TV, and growing up in Bergen County, you can be very sheltered. You can have a protection barrier around you, and
Mm-hmm.
we were all home, but we were not suffering in many other ways that people were
Yeah.
suffering, right? And I said, what can I do right now? And I was really upset, not only because when Floyd was murdered, but I'm an avid runner, and
Mm-hmm.
Breonna Taylor was murdered at that time. Ahmaud Arbery, who was a
Wow.
runner, was murdered
Dog.
while literally doing something I had done. And as a kid who runs around Englewood, or who ran around Englewood, I had felt some of that sense of, Englewood is a interesting community where racism still is very seeped into
Yeah.
the fabric of our nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was really upset, and I said, let me do something about that. And I'll never forget, I went out into the streets the first night, and I was like, okay. I told my parents that I was actually, we were in the middle of this interesting time of not being outside, but being outside still pandemic-ish. And I
Mm-hmm.
said I was going to social distance with one of my really good best friends. And they believed me and they let me go outside. But instead, I got on an NJ Transit bus, I crossed the bridge, and I went into New York City. And the next night I said, we're going to do the same thing. And I don't think they ever caught on to it. So my parents online, they will understand now that I was actually not at my friend's house. And I kept going outside, and I eventually joined a number of organizers and activists, and I said, this is how I use my voice.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I got back to Rutgers University, and I had said, well, this university had been grappling, and during George Floyd, we were grappling with a number of racial issues. We had white fraternities on our campus put nooses outside of their doors, and we had instances where during Black History Month, white organizers had literally gone into Black History events over Zoom and said the N-word, and the university knew who these kids were, but they were not being taken, or they were not being dealt with in the proper fashion. And so I essentially said, I'm going to join. I was already part of student government, but I was going to do a better stance. And I wound up running to be the first Black student body president. I didn't think I was going to win. I wound up winning to be the first Black student body president at Rutgers University in our entire history.
Nice.
And I said, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, fast forward, I got amazing opportunities to work on the governor's re-elect campaign, on Tammy Murphy's campaign for United States Senate, for Mayor Raji Baraka's campaign for governor, right? An historic campaign where, a Black man had never vied to be the governor. And, and I'll be very transparent here, if the numbers, if Stephen Fulop out of Jersey City did not run for governor, Ras Baraka would be the Democratic frontrunner and Democratic nominee for governor today. If you look at the numbers, it just happened that they happened to split that vote in a different way. But he would be the Democratic nominee for governor.
Yeah. I was with Ross too, but things are what they are. So now we're with the Democratic nominee. And are people trying to call you? I think we lost the sound. Can you hear me?
Went out for a second.
There you go. I can hear you.
So yeah, long story short, I got those opportunities, and now I serve another Black mayor, Mayor Eric Adams, in a different capacity now. But yes, I've had an interesting trajectory and an interesting career, but I think it started off as, Black kids saying, I can't sit down and be idle in this moment. I had to do something.
Well, we love to see it. We love to see young Black men, taking the reins and getting involved politically, because your voice is necessary. And if in order to, proceed, this next 4 years, I'm not sure how it's going to go, but no matter what, your voices are necessary, and it's critical to get people who look like you and others in your communities, involved and excited and engaged in the process, and then also getting others excited. So let's talk about Voterville for a second. I only have like a couple more minutes left. I feel like we should have a longer discussion. We'll schedule that for another time. But I'll meet you again tomorrow at Voterville as well. So let's talk about that briefly. And what is your involvement with that, and what do you want people to know about this event?
Yeah, so Voterville is this really crazy idea that we came up with a few months ago to say, hey, how do we turn sort of a voter engagement but into like a festival form, right? I think young people like festivals. I certainly like festivals. And we said, well, we're going to turn this into a voter style festival and have a whole bunch of people come out and talk about why it's important to vote. I think young people, this event is geared towards young people. We want young people to come. We want young people to be involved. We want young people to engage, because I think a lot of young people are in two buckets. They're either really, really involved and they're really fired up, or they feel as though they have no point of being involved, because oftentimes nobody listens to young people. Nobody is valuing young voices, and oftentimes, I think even looking at jobs, right? Young people can't get jobs because you need 7 years of experience for an entry-level job. And so we're cutting out a lot of young people who want to be a part of this system, particularly in the system of politics. We see our system is a gerontocracy, which means we have a lot of old people in our system, and particularly old people 70 and up at this point in time. And so young people do not feel connected. And so we said, how do we get young people engaged? How do we build something that's particularly around young people? And in young people in New Jersey, young people, we have a really bad voter turnout, particularly in New Jersey when it comes to young people. And that's crazy, because we have three of the biggest universities in the country: Rutgers,
Mhm.
Montclair State, Princeton
Princeton.
University. We have William Patterson. We have these other smaller universities.
Mhm.
Why are we doing bad in voter turnout? And so, we're excited to have a number of special guests, from Mayor Ras Baraka
Oh,
to Lieutenant Gubernatorial candidate Dale, who is going to be, you know, the first black male lieutenant governor after
mhm,
Sheila Oliver, who was the first black female lieutenant governor in this country.
mhm,
Rest in
mhm,
peace, Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver.
mhm.
And a number, from Jasmine Metellus, who is the Essex County Young Dems president, who's been doing instrumental things. And so we're just going to have a lot of young people out, from artists. We have a number of artists who are showing up. But to really encourage people to fire up. And I think one of my biggest special guests, and if you can see behind me, his book is here, but Larry Ham,
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. Uh-huh.
when I
Oh wow.
lived
Okay.
when I lived in downtown Newark, Larry was a bearer of a lot of truth, right? And Larry used to
Mhm,
keep me on my feet quite often.
mhm,
And so, we're gonna have all these people show up, and I really encourage a lot of young people to show up. I encourage families to show up, because it is now or never. And a
mhm,
simple matter of fact, and I'll end on this note: we have a gubernatorial candidate who
mhm.
was empowered to create a page called Blacks for Him.
Oh my gosh, let's not even
Blacks for
start
Him.
because I was just like, throw the whole website away, and also, who are these? I can't. Let me not say anything that I would say at my kitchen table. But yeah, I saw the page. That was terrible.
And so
Hmm.
when he refers to us as Blacks for Him
The blacks. Yep.
in 2025, then we
And
also
that was
do
the
something.
actual domain. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the real. It's still up there. If
it's
you if you
yeah,
if you think
yeah.
I'm joking, if you think
No, no, no.
we're
I saw it with
joking,
my eyeballs.
it's
I
there.
know.
But
I
to the
know.
listeners, if you think we're joking, if you go to Black for JACK,
Hmm.
the page is there, and it,
Yep.
it, it has a whole bunch of black folks on it. And it's encouraging you to sign up to be a Blacks for JACK.
No information, no links, no nothing. Just pictures of blacks.
The blacks.
This is
And
black.
so we have a
Just
duty right
random
now
blacks.
to
I
to
was
do,
I was appalled. I know.
to be involved. We have a duty right now to be involved and
Mhm.
to do something.
Yeah.
And I think it's our I always say it's our duty to fight for our freedom. It's our duty to win. And
Mhm.
right now, more than ever, it's our duty to say we're not taking this country back, and we're going to allow New Jersey to be a place that black and brown people can live and survive and continue to thrive.
Mhm.
And we're going to vote, and young people are going to vote, and we're going to turn this thing on its head.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will be there, and I know you'll be there, and the Bergen County Black Caucus is the primary sponsor of this, and they are doing an excellent job. Shout out to the Bergen NAACP and all the other sponsors who are involved in this as well. I can't wait. I'm coming, and I hope that everybody considers coming as well. It's at Votee Park in Teaneck, New Jersey. Big, beautiful park. They have the Black Lives Matter mural and everything else there. Great place to have a family day, and just check out the information. You could get registered to vote there, and yeah, and check it out if you have time. It's going to be from what time?
1 to 6,
1 to
tomorrow.
6. So, and that's, you have the rest of your Saturday to do whatever you want, but stop by Voterville and check it out and bring a friend. So, Shakee, thank you so much. We're going to definitely talk in the future because there's so much, like I could talk about, like in my regular life, I talk politics all day long. I just have just this passion for it. We'll definitely get you on and have a more formal conversation about the topics, especially with the gubernatorial race coming up with Mikey Sherrill and Jack Chattarelli. And what is there's another candidate.
Yeah, but they just dropped out the Green Party candidate. She
Okay.
has
Well then,
officially dropped the race. As we know, Mikey Sherrill and Jack Shirley are the front runners for the race currently.
okay, perfect. So we will definitely get online again and talk in depth about that race in the future.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you for stopping by, and I will see you tomorrow. And thank you guys for watching this pop-up conversation, and thank you for connecting to NJ in Color as we connect you to the diversity of North Jersey. Have a great day and a great weekend, everybody. Be safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.